You're watching today's TV-8. And this is News Now. This is TV-8 News at noon.
Good afternoon, everybody, and thanks for joining us. I'm Carolyn Whetstone.
And I'm Sarah Jarvis in for John McLaughlin.
Well, more severe weather this afternoon, everything from tornado watches to flash flood watches.
And we were expecting a calm day. Let's take a look at the graphic to show just what is happening out there. A lot of showers and thunderstorms moving across central Iowa and north central Iowa. They are moving at about 35 miles per hour off to the northeast, bringing heavy rain to some areas. Now, much of Iowa is under a tornado watch. That is for most of the central and eastern part of the state. The tornado watch lasts until 5 o'clock this afternoon. Then a flash flood watch is also in effect for parts of southeastern Iowa, and that will be in effect all day. That means chances are good for some flooding in those areas, so be aware of the severe weather possibilities.
Weather's popping up all over the place.
Sure is.
Okay, thanks, Sarah. I know we'll have your complete forecast in just a moment. Well, the vegetarian group known for its in-your-face activism is taking its anti-meat message to the streets today. People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, or PETA, is trying to convince people to become vegetarians. PETA says since the Des Moines Register refuses to print a controversial ad, members are doing the job by handing out leaflets in downtown Des Moines. According to PETA, the Register ran its ad 2 years ago, and that caused many Iowa meat producers to pull their advertising. PETA wanted to run its ad before this weekend's 6th annual World Pork Expo.
We think it's interesting that an ad connecting the eating of pork with obesity wouldn't be run even though there's a medical link between heart disease, cancer, and other illnesses and eating animals.
Now, 2 years ago, the Register printed a full-page PETA ad that compared the gruesome Jeffrey Dahmer murders to animal slaughter. Many angry Iowa meat producers pulled their Des Moines Register advertisements as a result, and the Register says the new ad is just not fair to the pork industry.
Another brush with the law for the governor's older child. 17-year-old Eric Branstad is back in court today, this time to answer to charges relating to a hit-and-run accident over the weekend. The accident in West Des Moines happened at the intersection of South 19th and Fuller Road about 12 a.m. Sunday. Eric Branstad was actually a passenger in his father's 1992 Jeep. According to a police report, Branstad was allegedly too drunk to drive, so his 15-year-old friend did the driving. The Jeep spun out of control and hit a utility pole. Damage is estimated at $5,000, and several people in the Jeep sustained minor injuries. Eric Branstad was taken to a Polk County Juvenile Detention Center because of his alleged intoxication violates terms of his probation. That probation stems from several other alcohol-related incidents over the last couple of years.
Meanwhile, Governor Branstad is in Washington, D.C. today. He's hoping to persuade federal officials to allow Iowa to go ahead with a new welfare program. That program is expected to go into effect July 1st. The program requires welfare recipients to sign a contract on their plans for returning to work. And in return, the state will grant expanded child care benefits and ease rules allowing recipients to keep outside income. Because major welfare programs are financed by both the state and the federal government, approval in Washington is needed.
What do you like about your insurance company, and what don't you like about your insurance company? Those are some of the questions an Iowa healthcare group asked of 1,800 Iowans, and now the results are in. The Health Policy Corporation of Iowa asked Iowans what they think of 3 health plans: Blue Cross Blue Shield, Heritage National, and HMO. The group spent 16 months asking about service, quality, costs, their personal health habits, and their health in general. The results could revolutionize healthcare here in Iowa. Surveyors hope more providers in the future will want to take part in the survey and will want to do well. Dr. Harris Allen of Boston with the bottom line of this Iowa survey.
What it's saying is that we think that our care is good, in some cases very good, but we don't think it's excellent. And we know excellence when we see it.
Now, the results are available through the Health Policy Corporation of Iowa right here in Des Moines, though for this first survey, each provider is not named, and the results will show companies as A, B, and C.
There's now another incentive to keep Lennox Industries in Marshalltown. The company has agreed to expand and add up to 600 jobs in the central Iowa community on the condition it receives economic development incentives and negotiates a new contract with United Auto Workers. Yesterday, the city of Marshalltown approved $5 million in bonds to buy land for the expansion and make public improvements. The bond issue is expected to raise city taxes. Last week, Marshall County voters approved a $12 million bond to provide a low-interest construction loan that will be repaid by Lennox.
Well, charges have been filed in California against a Mexican man arrested in Iowa this weekend. 23-year-old Javier Gonzalez was accused of kidnapping an 11-year-old California boy. Authorities say Gonzalez drove Raymond Laureano and 3 other boys across the country before he was arrested by a state trooper last weekend here in Iowa. Gonzalez is being held in the Poweshiek County Jail in Montezuma. California police describe him as a pedophile, but say he did not molest the boy. However, he is accused of molesting 2 boys in California 3 weeks ago. Gonzalez faces kidnapping and molestation charges in California.
There's a whirlwind of activity at some area schools today, and it has nothing to do with the weather. Today is the last day of school. The first graders here at Edmonds Academy are busy cleaning out their desks as they excitedly await summer vacation. The 4th graders who had good attendance and good grades were recognized when their teacher handed out awards. These first graders all had different plans for their summer fun.
I'm going to go fishing with my grandpa. We're going to take his boat to the Silver Lake. I might go to camp, and my Aunt Yodi's coming, and I'm going to go to Arkansas, maybe, and that's all.
I'm going to go to camp with my mom, and next summer I'm going to go to New York.
And most of them say that they will be doing a little swimming, and if the weather cooperates, a little bit of boating and some other summer fun.
Well, that sounds fun. Still ahead on the TV-8 News at noon, compromises being made over President Clinton's economic package. We'll tell you who will be affected.
Also, Japan's thoroughly modern woman gets ready to hand in her briefcase for a bridal gown. That story and more when we return.
A tragic loss for the sports world today.
One of the leading scorers for the NBA is dead following a car accident in Germany. New Jersey Nets guard Drazen Petrovic was 28 years old. An agent for the 28-year-old Petrovic confirmed that the death occurred yesterday. 2 women in the car with Petrovic were both seriously injured. The New Jersey Nets officials say that they are deeply saddened by Petrovic's death.
So we are definitely deeply saddened. That's a tragic loss to us, and I don't know how we replace him, but we'll try to go on.
Petrovic was the NBA's 11th leading scorer, averaging 22 points a game. He was in Europe playing for his native Croatia in the European Championship qualifying tournament.
Well, President Clinton has summoned congressional leaders to the White House today. They met earlier this morning, and for all their effort, Democrats still haven't sold Republicans on a compromised budget plan of scaled-back taxes and increased spending cuts. But the president does remain optimistic.
There's a serious attempt to reduce this deficit through a combination of cuts and tax increases, almost all of which come on wealthier individuals. So I think we just need to move forward.
Senate Minority Leader Bob Dole was present at the meeting and says after all the compromises, the package still isn't worth supporting.
In world headlines today, another round of gunfire erupts in the capital of Somalia. This latest fighting comes as United Nations is trying to figure out how to bring the killers of 23 Pakistani peacekeepers to justice. Saturday, the peacekeeping soldiers were ambushed, and their leader calls it an eruption of well-conceived action. Yesterday, Pakistani troops shot and killed 2 Somalis.